Hello, this is Coach Tim Campbell, and I'm your host for the Self-Made is a Myth, Make a Difference Together show, where we're talking with successful business owners to hear their stories of the journey to building their business. And because we know that achieving success in business is not something that we can do on our own, we're taking time to recognize the folks who have helped us to excel. I'm excited to have an entrepreneur with us today from Indiana. My guest mixes a sense of humor into science and entrepreneurship to help reduce stress and better communicate important points that he's articulating. He walks his dog every night, and he joked that the dog has trained him to do that. And here's the cool part. He doesn't carry any electronic devices with him, so it gives him the opportunity to clear his mind and unwind at the end of each day. He is most proud of the choices that he has made in his life and has gotten to the point where he can accept the ups and downs without losing energy and passion. It is my pleasure to welcome Rajesh to the show today. Hello, Rajesh. How are you?
Hello, Tim. Very good. And first of all, thanks to you for having me on your show. And I really appreciate all your effort ever since we first met, and then all those reminders through personalized card and through text messages and an email. I really appreciate your professionalism and make the guest to feel special on your show. Thank you for that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the feedback. Well, let's start with having you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit of your personal story, like where you were born, where you live, and maybe some of your hobbies.
Hello, everyone. Once again, first of all, nice to have you. Nice to be on your show. My name is Rajesh Perianayagam, and I was born and raised in the southern part of India, in a small town. I did all my schoolings and college education, undergraduation, everything in that nearby town. And then I moved out of my state for higher educations like master's and then Ph.D. And I completed Ph.D. everything, all my education I completed in India. And then I came to United States in 1999, 1999, as a visiting research scholar. During my PhD, I came to Washington State University, Pullman. And after completed my PhD, I continued as a postdoctoral fellow in Washington State University and also at University of Missouri, Columbia for a short time. Then I moved to Indiana to work for corporate. And since then, I have been in Indiana. So I fondly call my career journey as approximately 10,600 miles of journey from India to Indiana. That's what I fondly like to call that.
So all of that just to add a couple letters.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So
Rajesh, what's a funny story that your family likes to tell about you that you'd be willing to share with us today?
I can tell you a lot of things, but one thing I would say is I strongly believe that whatever we are now is because of something happened when we were in our childhood, when we were in the childhood. So I strongly believe in that, whether it is good or bad, either way. But there are certain things it becomes part of our life after we become adult, but most of the impact you can see from your childhood. So one such impact is my family is basically talented in terms of other than sports, I would say. My father is a writer, and he used to write novels and all of them back in India in our mother tongue. And my brother is an excellent writer. So I also have a little bit of those genes in me, I would say. But I have published more on the scientific articles, and also I have published some novels and articles like that. But the fun part is my family encouraged me, of all our siblings, my mother and everybody encouraged me to reenact what you saw in some movies, movie scenes and all of them. But I love to do that. I mean, because they were asking and they were laughing, and because they especially asked me to reenact the comedy scenes. Okay. So I end up doing that. So that probably became part of that sense of humor. What I had, that became part of me. And also that acting part, what I was doing, that also got into me. So that helped me to do some stage performance during my college time, and go and present in elocution competition, and so on and so forth. So all those the talents what I have right now, probably it started at that moment, I feel.
Yeah.
So I'm thankful to my family for, although it is a funny thing, but it made a positive impact in me.
Oh,
So
that's
that's what I
awesome.
want to say that.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. So,
Yeah.
Rajesh, tell us, how'd your business come about, and at what point did you have the confidence that you could start a business?
If you ask me the question in 2015, I have no idea. No answers for that question. Okay, because I can precisely say the time when I had that thought of starting my company. Okay. Um, See, I like I mentioned, I had the extensive career in both academia and industries. In high corporate, I worked for it, so I never thought of starting my own business at any time until then.
Mhm.
And but when I was working in corporate, I used to be innovative. I came up with many ideas. I ran some projects and all of them. So that probably the innovation has been there in my mind for quite some time without me realizing that. Honestly, I would say that it was naturally coming like this. So, but during that time, all my research is basically application of various molecular technologies for crop improvement genetically. So I used various technologies from the first generation to the most recent technologies like sequencing technologies and all of them. So, but I have seen both plus and minuses of both the sides. But I did realize when the new next generation sequencing technologies, there was a gap between the scientists and the data. So that was in my mind for some time, what to do about that. But I never thought that would be the idea of starting my own company at that time. And then, when we were discussing among colleagues, we were just talking about startups and all of them. So what is startup? I wanted to know about that. So I was searching, browsing for information. Then I watched on YouTube. There is a series of classes from Stanford, entrepreneurship school or something. So I watched each and every one of them. Around, I think, 23 episodes are there. Once I went through the whole thing, I didn't understand any of them, but I liked the idea of the entrepreneurship. That's all it matters. So then I was trying few ideas when I was in the job. I was having a job and I tried few ideas to commercialize, how to do, and all of them I was learning, but nothing went beyond a certain level. And then I realized that if we want to do something on our own, so we have to put 100% of our time. So that is the only way we can build a company and all of them. Yeah. So then that was the point, I would say, turn point. But I soaked the idea of entrepreneurship for 2 years in my mind. Okay. And then I took necessary things to learn about how to sell, how to develop products, because that I know, being in R&D for quite some time, but how to convert R&D to revenue, right? So that is important thing, right? So I went to, instead of going to MBA, I went to work for Roche in business development areas, where I worked with all those, salespeople and customers and all of them. So all of them actually trained me what to do, but although I wouldn't call myself an expert at that time. So then I started Karyosoft with the idea which I had in when I was at corporate. And then since then, the journey started there.
Fantastic. Well, tell us a little bit more about the company. What do you guys do? How do you help folks?
Exactly. Yeah, I'll be happy. And this is more important, right? So we are Karyosoft, as I mentioned in the beginning, there is a gap between the genomics data of an organism and the scientist, because scientists, the new next generation sequencing technologies require computational skills, which scientists typically lack, like me. So that problem is still there because that the whole technology is just 15 years old since they commercialized. So it's a very budding but rapidly growing market, the genomics market. So the gap is still there, and nowadays many of the work has become routine. Nowadays, there was a time that part of the workflow was require computational biologists, but right now it became routine. So, but the gap is still there. So that is the mission of us. So what Karyosoft does is we focus on building in-house genomic software solutions for scientists to improve R&D efficiency and accelerate innovations in agrigenomics and life sciences enterprises.
Wonderful.
So that is our mission. Our vision is to become industry leaders in providing simple to use genomic software solutions for the scientists to drive innovations. So our aim is to become top 5 in genomic software solution providing company in the next 5 to 7 years. That's our goal.
Awesome. Fantastic. So Rajesh, share a story where someone pushed you or inspired you that you could do it even though maybe you didn't think you could, and the impact that person had on you.
I cannot pinpoint one person for that. Okay. There is a group, I mean, at different stages of the people I got pushed by different group of people. Okay. And I still look forward to the future also. Okay. But I can tell only up to today. Okay. See, like I said, when I first started the company, I didn't know what entrepreneurship is, and then I have no knowledge on that angle. My impression was I'm running a business. That was the small business. That was my idea, meaning I develop a product and then I sell or keep the store open. People will come and buy things. That was my idea of Karyosoft initially when I started that. So then, fortunately, within few months, I got connected to Purdue Foundry at that initial stage. So, and I went through their the Firestarter market validation program, which was the eye opener for me at that time. That I would call that entrepreneurship 101. So I went through the program and everything was totally new to me. What is the problem? I mean, how to prepare a pitch deck. That includes problem and solutions, and then your financial projection and business model and advisors team and all of them. So that 10 slides, which typically every investors look for, those are all new to me. Which was not the idea I had in my mind. So I wanted to be thankful to them to push me to learn entrepreneurship 101. Okay, so that is the first stage. So after we grew a little bit higher, I got more matured and all of them. Then the next phase came where we wanted to have a business model for software, because what we develop is software solutions. What type of business model will be appropriate for that? So that when we reached that stage, we got the help. We got into generator program, which is G-Beta Indy Spring 19. At that time, only 5 people per cohort from all over Indiana would be selected. It's a competitive program. We were lucky to got into the program. And there we learned that a lot of people helped us to build a nice business model and networking and all of them. So from there, we went to the next stage, next ecosystem, like Health Wildcatters Accelerator Program, which is another prestigious one from Texas. So we got selected to that, and then we became part of that ecosystem. So there, it's a life sciences focused, where solutions like ours would be beneficial. It's easy to look for customers, and then new market we got the opportunity to understand and all of them. So I would say that these are the 3 ecosystem at different stage of our company came and pushed us to learn what entrepreneurship is. So now I am much more knowledgeable about entrepreneurship than how I started my company. So initially, but there is still learning curve there. So we are I'm open for learning. So
Yeah.
as now my learning is more, it became more specific.
Hmm.
So that is the improvement I saw in myself. So
I like the lifelong learning philosophy that you're sharing. That's awesome. So, to that point, what's your biggest learning so far as an entrepreneur?
there is a plenty. It is very. It's not. I cannot say one thing, but the number one I would say that is when you are when you are an entrepreneur running a startup, the growth is not linear.
Mm,
That is the number one lesson, that is what I had in my mind when I first started.
sure.
But then it happened. So if you want to go to from point A to point B, it is not just straight road or this way. It goes in very curvical way and then goes. The distance may be 5 minutes if you go in the straight line, but journey will take several hours, sometimes days.
Yes.
Okay, sometimes months, like that. That is the biggest learning. So the reason why I'm emphasizing that point is because of the time and then not linear. The entrepreneur, as an entrepreneur, I developed some skill sets, meaning being patient
Mhm.
and being thick-skinned, and all those new learnings, which was see, when you worked on a corporate and when you started all over again, it's a two different mindset, two different
Mhm.
dynamics.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to be adaptable for both the conditions. So that is new to me.
Yeah.
It's not that I was very prepared, all of them. So all those flexibility, adaptability, patience, being thick-skinned, all those new skill set I
Yeah.
learned because of that particular learning, that growth is not linear.
Yeah.
So
I love that picture of or what you described there. Of it could be a 7 minute direct journey or a, a 7 hour
yeah,
real journey. The mindset of an entrepreneur or a business owner, we do have to go through a re-education, right? Because
yep,
the way that we're taught to think and act as an employee is very different than what's required of us to have success as the one in charge and making the decisions and going through that journey of the ups and downs and or the roller coaster ride or the unknown and the uncertainty and the trial and error of figuring things out, right? So.
I agree totally. Yeah. And then it gets harder when you are a little older. And if you have a corporate background, it gets harder. It's very hard to hear no, because yeah, that is what you will hear a lot, right? When you are starting your own company and do that, so you hear more no's than yes. But when you are in the corporate job, it is the reverse, right?
Yes.
You
Yeah.
have the authority to say no
Yes.
to people. You don't hear no's, so there is a big learning curve, and those are important learning. I mean, uh, when I started, there is one thing I did was I took the corporate experience out of my head,
Mm,
and I came up with the mindset that I am starting life all over again from the kindergarten, like
yes.
that. So
Yes.
that is the mindset I did. That helped me to learn and face those I mean, face all those negativity and then
Sure.
pressure and all of them.
Yeah.
But still, and the most important thing is I'm doing what I love the most. So I'm okay for facing those things for the things which I love the most. So
That's awesome. So, um, we know that business success doesn't happen in isolation. So, tell us about one of your biggest challenges and maybe a fellow business owner or entrepreneur that came alongside you and helped you get through that.
um I mean, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, what's one of the biggest challenges you've had so far, and who's somebody that helped you to get through that?
Challenges, yeah. I mean, it depends on the moment of my journey.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not. I mean, in the beginning, I had different challenges, and then at a later stage, another challenge, so on and so forth. So, I, I mean, I can tell you what challenges I face today. Okay, because past is past. Because you face the challenge and you overcome. Next challenge will come, and you keep overcoming. So I mean, at this point, yeah, I mean, I learned many aspects of the entrepreneurship over the time, and I equip myself, but I'm helping. I'm pushing myself further and further ahead. And at this point, I always had four things. My company's growth is four-pronged approach. Number one is traction increase. That's number one. And team expansion, fundraising, and startup growth. What I mean by startup growth is, visibility, to present Karyosoft in different places and, make being present in people's mind, potential customers' mind and all of them. So that is these are the four-pronged approaches. I always maintain that. Currently, as a CEO, I always have three things in my mind. That is my primary goal. Number one is setting up the vision for the company and hire people with good talent and keep them. Third one is make sure company has money so that I can keep the team and build the product.
Yes.
So that is the three things. Setting up the vision does not cost you much, right? But keeping the team and fundraising, they are connected with each other. So that is my biggest challenge always. As an entrepreneur, I always face the challenges with the funding.
Yeah.
That is my primary responsibility, to raise money into the company, and that helps the company running for some more time. So that is our biggest challenge. So this has been the challenge from the beginning, and we were getting help on that part. So like I told you, we won some of the accelerator, Purdue Research Foundation accelerator program. We got some funding, and ISBDC INTAP program, we got some grants, and NSF, we got funding, and we won comeback capital ball pitch competition, we got some funding, and Health Wildcatters, we got some funding, and we got some other grants as well. But we grew a little bit higher, so we need more money. Okay, and bring more people. So that is our always challenge. So far I have overcome that, but I'm confident that we will overcome that also always. But money need will always be there for any startup. I would say that's my biggest challenge as well.
Yeah. So, and then who do you go to help you with those challenges? What are the types of people that you can reach out to help you through that?
Again, it depends on the challenge. Sometimes technical challenge, sometimes is the business model.
With the fundraising, I mean, how do you?
With the fundraising, we already have all three ecosystem. We are part of that. Since they invested in us. They are awesome. My first focal point. Okay.
Awesome.
Hey, can you invest more, or can you introduce us to additional investors? They are the number one for me, and we keep sending the need. I keep sending the need and everything through all my stakeholders periodically, so they know what's going on there, what I need, and all of them. So they are the number one, and they definitely are helping us to introduce to new investors and continue the conversation and all of them. So
awesome.
That's my answer.
Awesome. Yeah, fantastic.
We have already 18 Elevate Ventures. I forgot to mention Elevate Ventures. They also invested in that. So Purdue Research Foundation, Elevate Ventures, and Comeback Capital, Right Side Capital, and Health Wildcatter, and one more investor. So all of them are already
wonderful. Rajesh, if I asked you to pick three people in your entrepreneur journey that you're most grateful for them being there for you, who are those three people and how they help you?
It's very difficult to pinpoint one person. Okay. So when you, I told you that the three ecosystem, I would say, because the initial stage is the really, really hardest one. That is the teaching, and then bearing with my ignorance, and coaching me, and patiently coaching me. All of them is very hard on their part more than me. Okay, so I'm extremely thankful to Purdue Foundry first, because the interesting part is when I went through the Purdue Foundry program, I was assigned only one EIR, entrepreneur in residence, who works with me, helps me to coach. Okay, so but they already had more than 8 EIRs in Purdue Foundry, and I worked with all 8 of them. So that is why it is very difficult for me to pinpoint one person in
Sure.
that ecosystem. So, and the result of my working with them closely and then the trust they had in me resulted in investment from Purdue Research Foundation. That is the key part, right? So,
Yeah.
and then they introduced me to the next G beta group and all of them. So that is important because when you are growing as an entrepreneur, networking is important, which that was another biggest lesson I learned. How important network is, because when they introduced me to somebody else, they definitely took my call and then talked to me.
Right.
If I made a cold call, they would have 70% of the chance they would not even respond to me back. Okay,
Right.
so that is the biggest help because their reputation is also at stake.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then they introduced me to the G beta group, and then G beta still introduced me to the next the Health Wildcatter Accelerator program. All 3 of them still keep on introducing me to the investors, and that's the most important need like that. So when we are in need of fundraising, we know who to send an email and have the first call.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and they are there. They are our backbone. They are holding us like 3 pillars.
Yeah.
So that is what I want to give credit to all 3 of them. I would say that.
Wonderful. Jim Rohn says that we become the average of the 5 people that we spend the most time with. So as you think about that quote, what advice would you have for entrepreneurs or business owners who are trying to do it on their own, who aren't reaching out to other people for help?
Yeah. And you said 5 people, right? Average of 5 people whom you hang out with.
Yeah.
But I would add at a given time. Okay. Because I interact with more than 50 people. Because in all the ecosystem, everybody is not just one person, right? So it's a group of, because they all have investors group, advisors group, mentors group. All 3 of them are. So I have a lot of resources whom I can go and for a specific question to talk and get answers from. So that is, I want to add that point to your first part of your one. The second one is, like I tell, as an entrepreneur, I just crossed my kindergarten education. That's what I feel that. Okay. There is a lot of, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, graduation. There's a lot of stages are there. I'm going one by one. Okay. And I wouldn't call that as an advice, but I can share with you what I followed. So if that suits to others who wanted to start on your own, if it helps, I'll be happy. Otherwise, you have to find your own niche, because every entrepreneur has a different journey. Because since I worked with a lot of startups here, interact with all of them, and everybody has a different journey. Like I told you, going from point A to point B, some have gone in 5 minutes, some took several hours, some of them it takes still going on, a lot of things, right? But emotions are the same. The roller coaster mindset and then what you face every day, those are all same regardless of any startups. Okay. So for me, there are 2 things. Before I embark on the journey, and the entrepreneurial journey, as I mentioned earlier, I was soaking this idea for 2-3 years, whether I can do it or not, because although I have got no clue about that, whether I can do it or not. Because entrepreneurship, simple definition is converting an idea into a commercial product by taking high risk. The operative word is the high risk part. Okay. Idea to product you can do anywhere, but by taking high risk is the operative things, because that is what it is. And I analyzed myself whether I have that high risk taking ability or not.
Right.
Because when I started entrepreneurship, I have lived long enough. I went through graduation and all of them, so I went back. I have the taking high risk mentality in me. So that is what prompted me to embark onto the journey. So that I would consider whether you are having that high risk taking ability in you. Okay. And that is one thing. But once you embark into the journey, it's again a lot of roller coaster ride. But simply put, we know where to go with the company. Set up the vision and where to go, make a plan, and take one day at a time. Because too much of information, that is one of the key lessons I learned later, but I didn't have this idea before. But since I went through the journey, this is a key lesson, one of the key lessons I learned that helped me to reduce the stress and see things clearly for today. Because rather than getting overwhelmed with what's going on and we cannot do anything, what to do tomorrow, what's going to happen day after tomorrow, and all of them, because there's going to be a lot of sleepless nights and stressful moments, and within a day or sometimes within an hour, it's like Indiana climate. Within a day, you get rain, you get the snow, and you get sun, and you get cold. All of them you get in a day, right? So that is the entrepreneurial journey, entrepreneurial life. Okay, so this is something happens. So that way, if you take one day at a time and keep making progress, that reduces the stress and then keep you going. I would say that. So these are the two things I said. Before you embark, think whether you have high risk taking ability. Second thing is, once you get in, take one day at a time after setting up the goal where you want to go. So.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you for sharing your journey. And I know you didn't want it to be advice, but I will suggest to everyone listening, I think that is a great thing to ponder, whether that fits for you. We won't call it advice, but something to reflect on and
Exactly.
see if it fits into your individual journeys. I really like the one day at a time, because the reality is we can't change the past, and we can't change or impact a month from now, but we can impact today, and the things that we focus on today can make a difference for tomorrow. So.
Exactly, yeah. And any idea you are starting in that one, choose the one you like the most. That's important. Once you choose that idea which you can, it's likable, and then think of your ability for taking risk, and then you will start you will face all those ups and downs without any much of stress. It's part of the life like that. But if you chose the one which you don't like it, you are in big trouble. It's very difficult to face all those stresses.
Yes. Rajesh, yeah, it sounds like you've been blessed with some incredible people who have helped you along your journey. If they were all on the show here today, what would you want to say to them?
Thank you. That's important, because I have shared my thanks to all of them in many times in person and in other podcasts and other press materials and all of them. I will continue doing the same, and because I never thought when I started the company I would be having these many people who are willing to help me. I never thought that. Because that is the biggest one. Otherwise, it would be really, really hard. If I think back, especially in Indiana, I want to give credit to Indiana as well, because I didn't know Indiana promotes entrepreneurship this much until I started the company. So fortunately, Purdue Foundry initially carried me, I would say, and then Generator carried me, and then Health Wildcat helped me, and the whole combination that helps build my resume. So I'm always thankful to all three ecosystem, and but they are still doing that. Okay, it's not that it's an endpoint or something. So I'm extremely grateful, and whatever I am as an entrepreneur, and they all three played a major role, and that's what I would thank them. But if you ask them, they would say Rajesh is more coachable. That's why we helped him like that. But still, they don't have to actually.
Right.
but I on and off, I go back and think myself how I was 4 or 5 years back, and I feel more grateful to all of them because at that time I was not much of knowledgeable in this area, and they
Yeah.
patiently listened to me, and then tried to help me. And if they couldn't help, and they made introduction to other people who can help, and so on and so forth. So that I'm blessed with that. I'm extremely thankful to all of them, and they still continue doing that. So because of that, I feel stronger.
Rajesh, it's been a pleasure having you on the show today. Thank you so much for being part of our journey and sharing your journey with us.
Thank you very much for having me on your show. I really appreciate your effort, as I mentioned in the beginning. So thank you once again. I hope this interview helps other entrepreneurs or who are interested to start their own, and helps them to be prepared.
Wonderful. To everyone who tuned in, thanks for listening to the Self-Made is a Myth show with your host, Coach Tim Kamsel. Be sure to help spread this movement by liking the show and posting about it on your social media. And to join our movement, go to bemadtogether.com. All right, folks, that's a wrap. Make sure to pay it forward, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.